Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Israel Brief, proudly brought to you by Lay of the Land, and I'm your host, IsraelBrief March, bringing you the top stories making headlines in Israel. And today, our top story is not just a story making the headlines in Israel, but also around the world, where it has caused a lot of controversy and a lot of offense and a lot of condemnation. Now, we spoke the other day about the story. It's the story of the carnival in the city of Aalst in Belgium, which featured a float of ultra-Orthodox Jewish men standing on top piles of money with large hook noses and rats coming out of their clothing. And it was every ugly, venomous, anti-Semitic stereotype and image that you could imagine. You know, it really took us back to Germany 1939. In fact, it was images that we've seen since medieval time. The hook-nosed Jew, the Jew with the money. Now, it's created, of course, a lot of offense and controversy. Also because it is a UNESCO Intangible Heritage Project or site. And the mayor of the city was contacted for comments, and his response was that he stands fully behind the float makers. In fact, he said that those who are offended are living in the past. Now, there's so many things wrong with this statement. He also went on to say that it's a commentary on the rising cost of living at the moment. Now, it brings every ugly, offensive stereotype to the fore. Jews with money, Jews having money, Jews controlling money, Jews responsible for the ills of the world. And also, very dangerously, he said that those who are offended are living in the past. In Europe today, where anti-Semitism at levels that are pre-World War II, can we afford to not learn the lessons of history? You know, ironically, this comes at a time when the murderer who killed several Jews in a museum in Brussels a couple of years ago is on trial for their murders. So the correlation between all these ugly images and these events that have resulted in the deaths of people cannot be ignored. UNESCO, who previously did not comment, have condemned the use of anti-Semitic stereotypes, and the community of Belgium has filed reports of incitement and racism with bodies that govern racism and anti-Semitism. We really, really hope that something will be done. I just find it incomprehensible that the mayor of the city has no remorse and has no compunction to feature this today. Very, very worrying. Another big story making news, but this time in Israel, is that Kahol Velavan party head Benny Gantz, who's also the former IDF chief of staff, will be suing Hayom, which is one of the daily newspapers in Israel, for a $1 million libel lawsuit. Now, what happened is that news broke last week that there was alleged sexual harassment committed by Gantz some 40 years ago. Now, the person who is alleged to have suffered the harassment has no clear memory, and the concern is that because we are in an election season, because Israel Hayom is seen as pro-Netanyahu, and because Gantz seems to be the greatest competition to Netanyahu, is this perhaps a political smear by the Likud party? This we don't know, but what we do know is that Gantz is suing both the reporter and the editor-in-chief of Israel Hayom for this libel. He says that it is blatant journalistic negligence. So strong words indeed from the former Ramatkal. But today we are the eve of International Women's Day, and women's rights and the status of women has always been a big topic in Israel. You know, we sit in a very, very fortunate position in our neighborhood. Israeli women enjoy a greater status, and some of the most progressive advantages for women, definitely in the region. I mean, we were the country to be one of the first to have a female prime minister, the incredible Golda Meir. And today, women are very much present in business, in politics, in the army, in high tech, in all aspects of life. And we have a committee in the Knesset, in our parliament, that advocates for the status of women. However, there is still a ways to go. And while we have seen a lot of success, you know, Israel is one of the first countries, if not the first, to ban underweight models on the runways to try and alleviate the eating disorders that are prevalent in that particular industry. We also have a long ways to go, and one of the issues plaguing Israeli women over the last, I'd say, year or so is the uptick in domestic violence. Very, very famous campaigns launched here in Israel to try and end or to speak out against the violence in women. And one of the big topics that will be highlighted tomorrow, especially here in Israel, is the issue of violence against women and how it must be ended, full stop. And that's news headlines for the week. I'm Rolene Marks. This is the Israel Brief. Don't forget, you can check out our content online at www.layoftheland.online, and you can read all about Zionism and feminism and intersectionality, and are Zionist feminists losing their place at the table of feminists? Read the article. It's food for thought. You decide. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at Lottel's site, and you can click to subscribe and get your daily edition of the Israel Brief below. This is me wishing you all Shabbat Shalom and a great weekend wherever you are.